your screen a brand new picture of the man arrested after that tiger got loose in West Houston.
Yeah, this is Victor Cuevas. Fort Bend County Sheriff's deputies picked him up yesterday. Law enforcement say Cuevas owns the tiger that's still missing, by the way, but his lawyer says not so fast. Marcelino Benito explains.
An ongoing mystery across Houston. Where is that tiger last seen in a West Houston neighborhood? The man HPD says was last seen driving away with the tiger is in custody in Fort Bend County this morning. We've learned he was also out on bond for a 2017 murder. His attorney tells KHOU 11 News his client Victor Cuevas is the man seen corralling the tiger back into the house, but maintains it's not his tiger, and he did not flee with it either.
They're also assuming that my client is the one who put this tiger in some vehicle and took it away and maybe did something nefarious with it. And my client is not the owner of the tiger. He's not guilty of any crimes. He hasn't done anything wrong, and he's already been convicted.
Elliott tells us this arrest will likely impact his client's ability to be out on bond for that 2017 murder charge. We need to stress and reiterate that this tiger has not been found, and HPD needs your help to find it. If you know anything, you're asked to call them right away. Back to you.
Marcelino Benito all over this story for us this morning. Thank you so much. And at the top of the hour, we asked for your take on keeping exotic animals. One of you texted us saying keeping tigers is a terrible idea. It usually ends up with something sad happening to the tigers caused by a ridiculous human. Now, we've got all the angles on this story covered at KHOU.com. We're also sending out updates as this story changes, as it develops. Make sure to download that KHOU 11 app and then turn on your push notifications as well. All right, at 6:34, now to breaking news. A driver leads police on a high-speed chase spanning 40 miles across town. Now, it started on the west side. Our cameras captured the pursuit in progress on I-10 around midnight. HPD officers were investigating an aggravated robbery at CVS on Westheimer when they saw a car speeding in the area. It all ended at an apartment complex in Kingwood. And get this, the suspects bailed from the car. One of them hid inside of an apartment with a woman and a child. Police found a gun and money at the scene. Thankfully, no one was hurt.
Well, this morning we are finally getting some answers about this deadly Tesla crash. There's been a lot of questions about whether or not anyone was in the driver's seat, and was the autopilot feature tricked?
Yeah, so we finally have a preliminary report from the NTSB. Aniela Ruiz breaks down what they found.
Well, that's right. This is a two-page report released by the NTSB, but it's still a preliminary investigation. And according to the report, they have video of Dr. Varner getting in the driver's seat. The accident happened on April 17th, and it killed 69-year-old Everett Talbot and 59-year-old Dr. William Varner. Again, the NTSB says they have video of Dr. Varner getting in the driver's seat and Talbot getting in the passenger seat. The report says the car goes about 550 feet before leaving the road, driving over a curb, hitting a drainage culvert, and then a manhole, and finally a tree. It also states the impact damaged the car's high-voltage lithium-ion battery case and caused a fire. The NTSB says the vehicle was equipped with Tesla's autopilot system, but investigators say that traffic-aware cruise control and auto steer must both be engaged for autopilot to work. NTSB investigators say they tested another car on the same road and they could not engage the auto steer. Again, this is still a preliminary report. They're still collecting data. The investigation is still ongoing. Guys?
All right, Aniela Ruiz live for us this morning. Thank you for that report. We turn now to the nation's capital, where lawmakers are worried about the economic rebound from the pandemic. And now the president is responding. President Joe Biden addressed the state of the economy after last week's jobs report showed a slower than expected bounce back.
Our economic plan is working. I never said, and no serious analyst ever suggested, that climbing out of the deep hole our economy was in would be simple.
The Treasury Department also announced $350 billion in emergency funding for state and local governments. Governor Abbott has a new Republican challenger in the race for governor for 2022, former state senator Don Huffines. Huffines served one term before losing his seat in 2018 to a Democrat. NASA is partnering with Houston-based startup Axiom Space for the first space station mission for civilians. The mission is set to take place sometime early next year with a crew consisting of a former astronaut, an Israeli fighter pilot, and 2 investors.
All right, at 6:37 now to a social media proposal that sounds like, Brandy, it might be over before it even really gets off the ground. What's the deal here?
Xavier, we're talking about Instagram for kids. Even saying it out loud seems a little sketchy, but apparently Facebook is working on a project called Instagram Youth. It confirmed to BuzzFeed in March that it's, quote, exploring a parent-controlled experience. Right now, kids younger than 13 technically aren't allowed to have an Instagram account due to federal privacy regulations, and it'll stay that way if a bipartisan group of 44 attorneys general have their say. They sent a letter to Facebook yesterday asking CEO Mark Zuckerberg to dump any plans for a child version of Instagram. In it, they write that Facebook historically failed to protect the welfare of children. Another part of the 4-page letter points out that kids aren't equipped to handle the challenges that come with an Instagram account, like understanding privacy, knowing what's appropriate to share, or realizing what's online is forever. There are tons of issues that go along with it too, like cyberbullying and predators.
Yeah, to name a few. Okay, Brandy, so what is Facebook saying about all of this pushback, all this criticism?
Well, Facebook released a statement in response saying it's just exploring the idea and would make every effort to protect kids. But we want to know what you think about the plan. Would you allow your kids to get a social media account? Let us know why or why not, and you can text us at 713-526-1111. In the last hour, I shared the story of my 9-year-old who got sneaky and created an account. She's 14 now and doesn't have one, doesn't really want one. So it's interesting how she's had that turnaround. I also think a lot has changed in social media in 5 years.
Yeah, I think no matter how safe they can make it, I'm still the proponent of get outside. It keeps you like this. Get outside, go play basketball or something.
Yeah, meanwhile, I didn't have a cell phone until I was like 16 or 17. But let's check in with Cheetah for the one thing you need to know in weather.
I know, they're growing up in a different age, that's for sure. Okay, let's talk about the one thing in weather. We're really tracking thunderstorms after about 5 o'clock this afternoon, really into our evening hours tonight. We'll talk about where they're expected to happen